All right. Hi, everyone. How are you? This is Shannon Port, and I'm here live today. I decided to go ahead and do this as a live stream on for the Goddess Report for April 2021. And I've just posted this over on Facebook, and so I'll give it just a moment to see if anybody comes on live with us. I have a very powerful monthly report today. The Goddess Report is based on the Divine Feminine Wisdom, and we work here with the Sophionic codes. And so monthly, at the beginning of every month, we do a Divine Feminine energy update for the planet. And so we're here today for April 2021, and this is a really, really powerful month. And I'll just let you know that I just brought this in. I actually wrote it, and it was about an hour ago that I sat down to tune in, and so powerful. I wasn't even sure if I could go through with it. There's a lot happening in the world right now, and so I want to say the most important thing to know is that there are many teachings on the planet. There are many teachers, many streams of wisdom. This will not be for everybody, but there are very many people who it is meant to reach. And so, as always, whatever resonates with you and helps you, please take it into your heart and use it to grow and to heal and to find clarity. And if it's not for you, there's so many people out there now that absolutely you will find someone. It's really important right now to connect with people who are speaking your language. And so it's impossible for one person to speak the language for everyone. But when we find the people who are right for us, our hearts will open, and it can be very, very helpful. And so I see there's some people on today. Once I start with this, I'm going to dive right into it. I'd love to hear who's tuning in today, where you're tuning in from. Go ahead and leave any comments as we go, or make a list of questions in case you want to, if we have time at the end, if there's any comment you have or anything big you want to that we could address, I would love to bring that in. And so feel free to put it in chat or to save it until the end. And if you're seeing this post live stream, you can leave it in the comments, and I will make sure to read all the comments. And so good to see you. Oh, so nice to see you from Toronto. Okay. Yes, please I see there's people on, so let me know where you're tuning in from. And please let people know that I'm doing this Goddess Report. This is the result of 22 years worth of my work with the Divine Feminine teachings. And as I said, it's only one stream, but there's a lot of wisdom that comes through this. And I am oftentimes surprised. So if you enjoy it, please let people know. I would love to invite as many people as possible in at this time. So here we are. Now, as I said, it's very powerful. And I'll just start by saying this is not to make light of any of the big discussions that are happening on the planet. Right now, there's a lot of very important things that are meant to be looked at, and we're meant to have powerful conversations. But this is about the frequency that we go about this. This is about accessing wisdom. And so I'm going to dive right in, and then we'll look at it when I finish. In April 2021, we are seeing more and more evidence that patriarchal inversion is ruling the planet. This energy is the inversion of goddess energy and is being falsely presented as the energy of liberation, self-empowerment, and truth. In April, we have two very powerful archetypal energies at play in the collective. We have strong patriarchal energies acting through what is known as the Emperor archetype and Aries, the zodiac sign, ruled by the planet Mars. And the sun is moving through Aries right now as of the equinox. And we're still in the window of the equinox, the first 21 days, the vernal equinox. But the sun is in Aries. And so there's a strong Aries Emperor Mars influence acting upon humanity right now. We also have a very powerful energy of sexual energy coming onto the planet at the time of the Scorpio full moon that will be happening on April 27th, with the sun in Taurus conjunct Uranus and opposite the moon in Scorpio. Both of these influences are strongly influencing the collective consciousness to submit to the patriarchal inversion influence, believing that what creates bondage and suffering, addiction, abuse, and violence is actually good for you. So this is the patriarchal inversion. And so it's the shadow side of patriarchal force, but it's what's very active on this energy, on this planet right now, as we go through this fall. So it makes us believe that what creates bondage and suffering, addiction, abuse, and violence, misuse of sexual energy, is actually good for us. Those who have a weakened auric field are highly susceptible to these planetary and interdimensional archontic influences and thought forms. Those who have a weakened auric field are highly susceptible to these planetary and interdimensional archontic influences and thought forms. These energies work through our body, our physical body, and play out in our emotions, our desires, our thoughts, and our actions. Many are being driven at this time by a form of possession, by lower consciousness. This energy is pushed ruthlessly and shamelessly by the entertainment industry to capture the divine feminine soul energy of the innocent and the spiritually weakened or unawake souls who are unable to stay connected to their inner wisdom and discernment and discrimination. What I want to say about that, I'll just make a comment, is that in no way is this meant to say that we're meant to go back to a time, and I know because I clarified with her, I do this download with the goddess. In no way are we meant to repress or suppress the expression of theatrical expression and drama and film, or even there's meant to be a place for the full spectrum of expression of sexual energy. But this has become a full-fledged bombardment through mainstream. And so that's where we're coming in at right now. Behaviors that are absolutely known to awaken the carnal appetites of violence, addiction, that are the hedonistic tendencies that create chaos and depression, are being disguised as liberating and empowering. The balance of forces is being tipped into the underworld currents that block the energy of the divine feminine Christic force of divine love. This is an ancient game and war on consciousness. Each soul has a deep, deep knowledge buried in their heart as to how we can anchor our body and our auric field through the mental and emotional body, how we can anchor this to the solar feminine field of the goddess. She is the mother of all of us and of all creation. She is Lady Wisdom in one of her highest archetypes. She is the one who grants us all knowledge and true power of the mysteries of transmutation, as well as transfiguration. She is the divine mother of all, both positive and negative forms, and will help each of us to step onto the path of healing our consciousness by accessing divine love. And so I'm going to keep going. There's a lot more. Currently, the forces of power acting as if they are tuned in to justice and reason are blinded and not accessing the higher truths, and are actually not capable of holding divine authority and power. The descent of the clouds, it's known by the mystics as the descent of the clouds, is upon us. This is the period of great, great confusion in humanity, when up becomes down and down becomes up. This is a patriarchal inversion. Accountability to wisdom and reason has been usurped by greed, by ignorance, by carnal cravings, and by lack of genuine connection to a universal spirituality that really serves the evolution of humanity. We have lost our way in the collective at this time. We need look no further than we're seeing things that we have never really seen so amplified before. And I'm shown that this is only the beginning. And so this is a more heavy goddess report. We're going to oftentimes I touch on the light information. It's all about love and creativity and the creative imagination. But this is a time right now, especially with the waxing energy after the vernal equinox, when the planet is being flooded with high wisdom, that we're meant to see this. And for those who are able to access it, to make that, to plant it in your heart, because we're going to need it in the coming times as they unfold. Human beings are receiving this program and losing their mental and emotional stability, which can result in us attacking each other and one another. This is the very opposite energy of the age of Aquarius. This is a deeply profound purification process that we are in before we are able to really access the gifts of the goddess in this age. And so we talked about this in December. We did a whole bunch of, we did a 21-day I Am Goddess meditation. And we talked about how during this time, we're getting ready to enter the age of Aquarius, which brings in a whole bunch of gifts and new energy and really positive new innovation and creativity and individual expression for all human beings, regardless of how unique and different you are. You march to the beat of your own drum in the age of Aquarius. But this is about the process of the degeneration of wisdom that happens before. We're cleaning it out so that we can be capable of receiving these higher energies. I am and we are the keys to this golden age. Each one of us, you are a key, and all of us hold these codes that are going to be very necessary at this time. I'm so glad you're able to be with me live. Oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you. Let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from, and then I'm going to peek up in just a moment. So you are a key. Do not underestimate the power of your own consciousness. Each one of us is needed at this time. We must be 50% devoted to our own personal love and 50% devoted to loving each other. Now, obviously, we have to be 100% devoted to our own healing, but I'm shown that we really have to be, as much time as we put into ourselves, we have to include each other, because these influences we're talking about would like to see everybody warring with each other and just losing consciousness and being held in the lower energy. So when you love yourself, and when you also devote your life and your creative talents to service and love in whatever way you're called to do, because we're going to need a lot of people serving their own at this time, and people who relate to them. You hold the balance, because it's me and we. Aries is me. It's I am. But the shadow side is this service to self. The Libra full moon that we just had yesterday is about we. And so Aries and Libra are opposite each other. Me and we have to balance. And so the authorities that say they're about we right now are creating a war between the we's that's not unifying and bringing people together. And so that's what this is really about right now. Until we understand that balance of me and focusing on my own healing, my own boundaries and love, but also being dedicated to deep love that happens in the container of either a real relationship, a friendship, a parent-child relationship, a strong work relationship, a spiritual community relationship. The relationship with the planet is very key right now. We'll talk more about that, but we have to be observant of that and not get caught up in the war. That's your life raft through these times right now. That is what gives us the access to the emanation, the high emanation of the Divine Mother. And it's her energy that this whole shift is about, bringing her archetype back onto the planet. The Divine Mother is wisdom, and it's the wisdom of the mother. All of us have come through a mother, and that energy on the planet has been, the Goddess Report is about giving that energy a voice, and it comes in stronger in just a moment. She is the only force that can balance the above and the below, because she birthed all of creation. She works through the power of the word in the awakened souls. In the awakened souls. At this time, the word is being used against humanity. 2021 is a number 5. 5 represents the word, and it also represents the archetype of Mercury, which is the mind. It is the number of what is known as the fall of consciousness. The patriarchal inversion of the 5 senses pointed in the direction of the carnal appetites and locked out of heaven, the true balance and the true heaven that recognizes the soul. So this is all about the soul right now. And nice to see you from Mexico and Ontario. Oh, wow. Clearwater, Florida, the UK, Athens, Ohio, Toronto. So nice to have all of you here today. So this is about the soul. This is about the soul. We have a physical body, but true goddess energy we see each other as a soul. This takes us beyond race. It takes us beyond gender. It takes us beyond politics, right and left. It takes us beyond religion, beyond country. It's important that we recognize all of those different things, because that's part of being human. In other words, it's important that we recognize our religions and our cultures and our genders and all the varieties that are being expressed, as well as the color of our skin, the cultural upbringings we've had. We're all meant to find love and power and healing in our individual genetic code that we carried forth in this lifetime. But unless we understand that the truth is that we are souls that are beyond all of that, we'll be on the wheel. We'll just keep fighting. It's one war after another. It's one slavery after another, one enslavement after another. It's one it's one fall after another, and we never make any headway. We never truly anchor onto the higher archetype, which is governed by divine love. Divine love allows for the polarity. It allows for the light and the dark, meaning it allows for the two forces that rule creation, the emissive and the receptive, the positive and the negative energies that govern each one of our electric and magnetic field are made up of those two polar forces. But the integration of those forces is our pure portal into the true creative abilities of the soul. If we are lost in the ego level of war with one another, which is most of what we see in the world, it's insanity. The ego is insane. It's important that we acknowledge that we have an ego, but the higher level of ego is governed by an archetype called the sun. The sun is the true ego. And so it integrates the lunar and solar energies, and it's super consciousness. If we war with each other at that level, we will never get to the other side. It is the soul that is being held captive by this lower frequency. At this time, many souls are trapped in addiction by substances, some of these that are even promising to liberate the mind. We have to be very careful at this time, because we're so vulnerable right now that we have to be really, really discerning about what energies we give our mind to at this time. While they while they're doing this so-called liberation of the mind, they are actually eating away the vital and etheric energy of the heart, which is the true vehicle of ascension. And so just something to say about that right now, that when we engage in energies that deplete our system, and a lot of people are suffering with that because it's been such a crazy time. A lot of people are dealing with deep addiction and are trying to medicate and just trying to get some space away from all the bombardment of these energies. And what happens is that people ask me about this all the time, because obviously there's a time and a place for expanding your mind and experimenting if you feel called to that with certain things. But right now there's such a war over consciousness that the feminine part of our being, the mind is the masculine part of our being, and the mind has different layers, but the feminine layers that are pristine and that need to be very clear and very alert and very much in place in order for us to travel the higher octaves are damaged when we overindulge or when we come into any kind of addiction. What happens is it's the heart that suffers. So we might have a blast of this or a blast of that, or it might help us get through a certain hard time. But then the price we pay is on the vehicle that holds our divine feminine energy. And so that's why it's so important right now for us to understand this isn't about being, Puritans. It's not about having pleasure in the world, but it's about understanding frequency right now, because if so many people are suffering right now with their children. There's also a lot of positive happening, and I talk about that all the time. But we can't go forward without clarifying that right now people are falling into this because of not having the capacity and the strength built up to navigate these times. So that's what this report is about. Understanding that you're not alone, that you have the power that created the entire cosmos is within your soul. And it's in your soul right now. And the male lineages are very good at teaching that. The Zen teachings and the Advaita teachings and the teachings that focus on I am and the self are very powerful for letting you access the fact that that energy is alive in you right now. However dimmed it may be, it's very much a part of you. And your soul is infinite. Your soul does not die. We can damage the trajectory of our soul, but our soul is infinite. And so when we honor that, we have less fear and we operate from a much, much higher and creative level. We honor the body, but we understand who we really are. That being said, then we understand that one of the highest truths, that each one of us is given the sovereignty to be the commander of our own experience. And on many levels that we don't quite understand in this reality, we are in charge of everything we experience. However, when we don't know that all the way, what happens is that we hand over that power. It's like we're driving and we just hand the wheel to someone else. And so we have the power to take that back, but we also have the free will to hand that over. And so that's what this is about, understanding that we do create our own life. But if we've handed it over, we're under the influence of our family line, our genetics, the collective karma of whatever group we're born into. And that's all part of the wisdom, understanding this. But that's why it's so important to start that process now, because you will no longer be interested in the drama of this energy that's not even awake. It just, you'll be upset by it, but you'll know that you're not meant to be run by that. So I'm going to finish this page, then I'll look down, and then we'll wrap up with the next couple. So the soul is held captured in this lower frequency. At this time, many souls are trapped in addiction. We talked about that. And the mind yes. So we talked about that, how it's the heart that suffers. And we see that when people start out feeling really good, and then they get very weary and tired, and then the downward spiral begins. It also lowers our creative and our sexual Shakti, our sexual energy, and it makes us more vulnerable to having that run by the influence. I mentioned a really great quote in the last video about emitting our own frequency rather than absorbing the frequency that is being beamed at us. That is more powerful and important than ever before. Because all of these lower energies are actually being pushed relentlessly right now. It's part of this energy that governs the world that we live in, and it's not a friendly force. So being awakened and listening to intuition of the goddess is the key to all of this. So wow. Let me just look at the time really quick. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and then I'll take a peek down. Listen to the intuition. You must find her. Her shadow side is being strengthened in society and creating a trap to enslave humanity. 5 is the number of the mind. The mind is being held over spirit and inverting the poles of reality at this time. So that's the human ego brain level mind. The higher mind, no. But it's when we talk about this influence of matter governing spirit rather than spirit governing matter, and that is what is known as the archetype of bondage. When the carnal takes over and the soul is trapped, we lose our real power. And so that is what this is all about. The higher mind is known only through the solar force and the solar feminine, which can only be accessed by the heart. Okay, this is a time of great confusion, and it's amping up right now. The negative side of the zodiac, and I talk about that we work with divine feminine astrology on this platform. So the shadow side of the zodiac is what really governs this dimension that we're in. It's being used to war with human consciousness, and it's a trick to get humans to use their own divine energy against themselves. Communication from reason is the only power that will create balance. And that's the true archetype, and the true energy of Aries is reason. The true I am is divine reason. The sun is, for this Aries new moon that's coming up, the sun is exalted in Aries because it's the sun that works through the mind to help us have true vision, which is our super consciousness anchored into our being on earth. It means we can see. It means we can truly see reality rather than having it be so murky and convoluted and mixed up and confusing. That's what attacks our emotional body and makes us feel drained and sad and depressed. But the higher energy rejuvenates us, and every one of our cells begins to activate and become a divine force within our body. This energy, okay, so this is powerful. And I say this with a lot of love, but so most of what passes for communication in the media, politics, and entertainment is a form of the lower emotional body being run by patriarchal inversion. And that doesn't mean that there's a lot of great things out there. And I watch, I love film and a good series, and there's a lot of powerful archetypal grail codes in the things that are out there right now, but the overall influence is most definitely holding the mainstream, who are just not awake enough to see it in that grip. So I'm going to take a peek down, see who's here, and see what okay. Oh, nice to see you. Oh, so nice to see you. I've never seen you live before. Okay. From northern Wisconsin. Well, I will say one thing, that I started the Goddess Report 1 year ago, and it definitely activated some force. And so that's why this past year I've been making sure to do my own alchemy and proceed with a lot of love, because love will always stand. But you're very right about that. And a lot of things have taken place in this past year to validate that. But it's okay. That's to be expected in this world. And so, meaning there's some energies we're not very happy about the Goddess Report, but that was to be expected. So it carries seeds of power, and that is why the seeds of power are real and they're genuine. And so at this time, there's a lot of information in the world, and it's all the technology is giving everyone a platform to amplify their voice. And so that means on the positive side, there's a lot of information that can now be seen by a lot more people, meant to be. There's also a lot of voices that probably wouldn't have had a platform that are not necessarily coming from wisdom, that are out there and have a lot of momentum as well. And so it's important now to just, we talked about this at the beginning, but to just find what speaks to you and what you know is coming from love. It doesn't mean it will be perfect. No human being is capable of carrying forth divine perfection with every word. However, if you feel love and if you feel the commitment to truth and to alchemy, and it works for you, it's discerning between, who really has the truth right now is part of this process that we're in. And so, again, there's many streams needed. So I have deep respect for many people who I've come across over the past few years. So it is important for each soul who seeks to be truly empowered, healed, and in total sovereign creativity, to know that we are meant to be, this is powerful, we are meant to be unique, individual expressions of source. If we are truly acting from our soul's creativity, we will know it. Now, the reason this was said is because I went back, and after I wrote this, I literally didn't, the energy that came through when I wrote this was so powerful. I was shaking, and I was like, didn't know if I could read this today, but I was shown I should, and I was meant to, but it was very, very clear that in no way, when we're talking about the inversion, is this to take away from anyone's individual expression, because there's a lot of unique expressions coming out right now. But what her archetype and energy was showing me is that if that expression is truth for you, and it comes from deep within your soul, and it's birthing through love, and it brings you to love yourself more. Even if, I've been different my whole life. So most of my work was never validated on the outside, ever, my entire life. It wasn't until I became a teacher and started teaching that the right people came in. And so they know, what they say, never a prophet in your own land. It's like you go through a lot of strengthening where people don't recognize what you're doing or validate your work or this or that. That builds strength. You don't have to be at war with everybody. And then the right people come in at the right time, and you realize you are being strengthened. So even if you have a unique expression and you feel like the world's against you, try not to buy into that too much. Find it within, because that is where you're going to get tremendous power, and you will be rewarded in ways that I can't even speak on this platform. You have to find it, your unique expression from within. It won't be at war. It will be in highly creative and very, very valued. Now, obviously, sometimes we have to speak out, and you'll be guided in that area. So it's very important to know that uniqueness is very key in this time. However, there was another energy that came in around that this is highbrow spirituality, but truth is that when you put your creativity in service of the divine will, as opposed to the ego, there's a difference. Now, our highest level of ego is attached to divine will. It's our individual ray of the sun. But there's a lower level that just seeks to create without being attached to that. Put it that way. You'll sound your note in the harmony of creation when you're attached to your higher self. And so for those who have ears to hear, I want to put that out there. It will feel good, and it will make us know our sovereignty if we're truly acting from within. We will not seek to attack or manipulate others. We won't need to. We don't need to convert people or prove or defend ourselves. We just know we're sounding our divine note. If we are balanced, we will be guided on the inner path of initiation and humbled by the divine presence within us. We'll speak with love and pure creative power, not to attack. We'll be guided to do our own healing work, and we'll be shown exactly what we need to do. The true work is to be done in the frequency of love, and this will open the higher divinity within us. It's when we open the divinity within us, it's a completely different frequency. It's a completely different frequency. And so I have just a little bit more of one last page, but before we do the last page, we're going to say I am in the 7 directions. I was shown this is a space to do it. And because this is our inner divinity. And so just taking a moment, we say I am. I am is truly the sun that is exalted, the sun of reason and light. It's the divine logos within us. This is when I'm talking a lot about the sun today, I'm not meaning to diminish the power of the lunar force, but I talk about that a lot on this channel, and will be more this month at the time of the full moon that's coming up. The solar force we're talking about is the super consciousness. It's our divinity. And so we birth it into our field. This is the true integration that we speak of. And so just repeating after me and seeing this light light up your field. It's your divine intelligence connected to divine will. I am before me. I am behind me. I am at my left. I am at my right. I am above me. I am below me. I am unto me. And taking a deep breath in, breathe all the way in, hold it for just a moment, and just call forth the inner picture of you, your divine image of you at your highest, healed and operating in your highest creative force in humanity, sharing your gifts with all and harmonizing, being who you were truly born to be on this planet. And so now exhaling it all out. And we'll activate it with I am, I know, I am, I know, I am. And so the goddess energy, my energy and your energy, the goddess wisdom and presence has been, this is the goddess speaking, has been pushed out of your politics, of your religions, your science, your medicine, and entertainment. Even those who mean well oftentimes are in a veil of ignorance and are being used to control the collective narrative. A lot of this is subconscious and archetypal. I can only work through awakened hearts and minds in the highest energy to heal this planet. It means, well, the goddess is working through everything, but it means I heal through the heart. And so wake up your heart and sing your song to the world. That is the most powerful thing you can do right now. My science and politics, art and religion are carriers of the universal codes of my divine feminine wisdom. These times are going to bring to the surface many of the buried and unresolved carnal desires that bring fire and flood to the world. Know me, find me, love those who are near you. Learn to connect inward. Hear me speak through water, through air, through fire, and through the planet Gaia. I am speaking to you through nature and through your own body. Hear me while you still have access to my organic light. Hear me, listen while you still can, while there is still ample organic light in this world. It's here now. And so this is the time. This is the complete anchor in when times feel hard. And there's a lot going on. I know that this report has been quite serious. It's interesting because I started last April. This is for April 2021. And it too, it was message from the goddess, was quite powerful. I'm going to look down in just a moment. I was given, and so I will be back. We're going to look at those energies I talked about when we do the Aries new moon and the Scorpio full moon. But I was given two charts to understand the difference between wisdom and reason and patriarchal inversion. So I'm just going to take a peek down, say hi to everyone. It's so nice to see you. And so nice to see you. Love will always stand. Be fearless. There's a difference between a war of the ego and speaking truth from the heart. And so it's a time to just know that the soul is infinite, that the divine creator, the mother of all creation, is inside you. Her energy is literally inside you, and that you have the ability to determine your life. And so attach your little will to the divine will and let it start to surf this reality. So what I was shown is that the patriarchal inversion wants us to stay stuck. It wants war to be continued. It doesn't really seek a solution. It loves to point out the problems. It loves to, but it doesn't really want us to go to the other side. A lot of this is subconscious, and the archetypal forces are just acting on people's inner weaknesses. Some of it is intentional, and so it's a mix of both. It's addicted to war. We'll be talking about that at the Aries new moon. It's ruled by the body of pain. That's the energy source that it loves. It holds nobody sacred. Nobody is sacred in this energy. You might be important for a while, but you can be discarded. Nobody is seen as the soul, so nobody is sacred. Only what you can give. But even those that are linked together in terms of the negative side turn on each other. So nothing is really sacred in this energy, and we can see it being played out in our culture. Nothing is sacred. We don't even treat each other like real human beings. It's deceptive, and it's never, never, never loyal. It will always betray when it feels like it can get something. And when the time is right, it will set you up and then betray you. The true reason, the true wisdom and reason wants to heal. It listens with reason and with the inner faculty of the goddess, the true power to hear. Hearing is healing. When we really listen, the heart opens and we heal. It forgives. It's ready to forgive at the right time. It knows in the beginning it forgives, but it also lets the process play out, and it knows that it will forgive. It integrates and learns from mistakes. It transmutes. It awakens divine love, and it is the divine mother energy returned to this planet. And that is what this goddess report is about. And so I thank you for being here. I'll take a peek down and see if there's anything else. This was much longer than I thought, but I'm so glad that I had the chance to be here. This is for April 2021. And yes, please share this while you can. It's a divine feminine energy update for the planet, and I'll be doing these at the beginning of every month. Okay, so nice to see you from Oregon and Austria. So nice to have you. Angel hugs to you too. Huge angel hugs, and love the dove. The dove is the symbol of the healing that's meant to happen at this time. Bring a dove to everyone, even your enemies. Walk with the dove and walk with the healing energy of the goddess. So yes, the presence of Maria Magdalena, yes, and we will be talking more and more and working with her archetype. So it's truly the archetype of healing the soul. And so I bow to all of you, and I just take a moment to send love out to the planet and to send love out to every single human being that walks this earth. There are no enemies of the goddess. There are only one light, one divinity in this human race. One thread of the divine runs through all of our blood, all of our veins. And it's just that we're beginning to understand that and what it means at this time. And so I bow to all of you, and I will see you again. I'll see you, I think Monday, I said Sunday, but I think Monday is going to be a good day for these. And so I'll see you next week. All right. Oh, and if I haven't ended it, yes, please, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. I just want to say that because it helps the video. And so please make sure to come back and comment and share the video with anyone who you think it might be of help to at these times. And so I thank you again for being here, and I'll see you next time.